Welcome to the Caution Free podcast. I'm Colton Sutley. My co-host Tim Friedhaber was unable to make it, but we wanted to go ahead and interview Branden Goodman. Uh, he's a photographer. If you guys don't know, we've had him on the show or on that podcast before, and he was at the Chili Bowl, so we wanted to get him on for the first episode of the year and talk about the Chili Bowl and kind of maybe talk a little bit about the rest of the racing that he's gonna go to this year. But Brandon, I guess just to start out, how just kind of talk about how your trip to the Chili Bowl was.
So I left here at like 4:30 in the morning to go to Pittsburgh. Had to fly from Pittsburgh to St. Louis, then St. Louis to Oklahoma, and I got there. Left Tuesday morning, got there at like 1 ish, and then racing didn't start until 4 o'clock there, 5 o'clock PA time. So I was actually able to get in my Airbnb and hang out with those guys for a little while and go over there and witness all of that special stuff that's over there.
So, so you stayed at an Airbnb. Who all did you stay with?
So I stayed with Sean Blight, the one that does the Canadian race tours, and then we had a driver with us, Jacob Dykstra, and he
Okay.
had his dad Dave and his two buddies Seth and the B main bandit Connor Ross. It was definitely a pretty cool group to be around. It was definitely not a dull moment at all.
Um, I remember Sean went to Mercer for the Fast Show in August, I only spoke to him briefly there, but I remember you were like, "Oh, my buddy from Canada is here," and you were all hyped about him
Yeah,
being there and stuff. And I think he said he got like there like at like 1 or 2 o'clock that day
yeah.
too, and I'm like, I've made that mistake a couple times going to races, getting there way too early. But I mean, I guess if you're driving from Canada, it's kind of hard to gauge how long it will take you in traffic and stuff.
So for them, it took them to the Chili Bowl. They drove. It was like a day and a half, kind of
Jeez.
like 18 something hours. They drove. So they left the last day, like Saturday. Sean got all of his pictures for Victory Lane, and then they were on the road from the Expo Center straight to home.
I That's tough. And then you left Sunday, am
Yeah,
I right?
yeah.
And that got home what early Monday morning. I think I saw you post Facebook.
Yeah, I posted once I got home. I kind of just put all my bags and stuff in the room and suitcase where I knew where it was, and I just pretty much went to bed after that.
So you were there Tuesday to Saturday.
Yep.
Um, what was your favorite night of I guess your favorite night of racing? I was gonna say your favorite night of taking pictures, but I guess it's kind of the same thing.
Um, the Tuesday was pretty interesting, just because of Landon Brooks. I didn't know who he was, and it was kind of cool to see someone that I didn't know who it was. Not too many other people, like photographers, knew who he was. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool to see him win, and like his reaction and his family's reaction was like completely priceless. Like you could tell genuinely they were extremely happy. Like it was pretty cool to see someone like that win that no one really knows. It was pretty cool. And of course Larson winning on Saturday, but that's just
Yeah. Yeah, Landon Brooks was actually at the Silver Cup at
mhm.
Lernerville this year too, or last year, I guess. And that so it was kind of cool seeing like somebody that's like not well known and stuff win such a big race and be like, oh, I saw him race like this summer and stuff.
Yeah. It's kind of cool how they have like the setup, like they do their heats, and then it's like wherever you go in your heats, say you didn't get a picture of somebody in their heat, like up home,
Yeah,
you get them and they don't make the feature, you don't get their picture. There, it's like you have your heats, and then you go into qualifiers, so you have a second chance, just like the drivers have a second chance of make it into the A that night. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I know. Well, with starting, I do pictures. I once I started taking pictures as well as video. Like I do the pictures during hot laps usually, and then I try to get everybody at least like once. But I mean, I've had it where like I think at like Lincoln for the Outlaw show in October, I didn't get a picture of Logan Trueheart at speed at all. I just got him like as he was like running like the pacing around after
Yeah.
they threw the yellow, and I'm like, this will just have to do, I guess. And then the same thing with video. I tried to get like everybody a little bit, but I've noticed that trying to make the reels and stuff lately and putting them out there, I've noticed that sometimes I don't even get anybody. Like for like
No.
the I know for the feature for the Flow Racing Night in America race at Lernerville,
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought I'd have Michael Norris quite a bit. I think I only got him like once or twice where I was like really focused on him, and I'm like, well, I guess I mean I'll have to go look at the heat race footage and stuff, but I didn't feel like it when I was doing that at that time. But I might not even had any good footage of him in the heat race either. So I don't. It might have been you know a waste for getting footage of him.
It was kind of crazy because they have so many cars on the track, and the track isn't that big. So it's like they put a like my first day Tuesday. I was like, oh yeah, went seeing like Chad Warner, Jared from Ascent Media, Brendan from the BBP, and like we all kind of had like our little group
Yeah.
already just from meeting with each other. And I was like, I want to take pictures outside. Where's the best place for that? And Chad's like, oh, come here. So we went out. We went right into the grandstands where they come down the ramp. You can stand or sit in the stands right there, and it's wide open.
Oh,
So you can get them going into three. So I was like, this is gonna be cool. And then they had all the cars on the track, and I was like, okay, this is kind of like too many cars. Like they're on top of each other in hot laps. So I'm trying to get a picture of everybody, but it's like at one point I'll just get pictures of who I can and kind of a row of cars kind of picture. But it's definitely an eye opener for the first night.
I mean, I can't. So, where was your favorite spot to t shoot from? Was it there or was it somewhere else?
So we went up to the VIP spot, which is on the back stretch up top. So you're only allowed up there for hot laps. And I went up there when what was it Fridays Kyle Busch ran.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we went up there for hot laps, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool up here. You can get them like if I want to do blur shots, I did blur shots of them going down the front straight. I can get them coming out of two, going into three. Like it's pretty versatile up there. And then like if you really wanted to get crazy, you could get them coming down the ramp while the people are on both sides. And I think that Justin Grant, I got a good picture of there's a 48. His name's Wow. He's super
Oh,
super cool.
this is from the Netherlands.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
so cool. We met him. I met him Tuesday, and then from then on out, every time I see him, we had conversation the whole way up to when he raced. So I got a whole bunch of good pictures of him coming down the ramp, Justin Grant coming down the ramp. But then when they went green, it's like you're pretty much in your own little spot going back and forth.
Okay. Yeah, I've listened to an interview or two of Wout and
Mm.
stuff, and it's his story is very cool. To like just like the whole everything about it and stuff.
Yeah, his whole family was like incredibly nice. Like he won, I think he won his one heat or his qualifier or something like that, or placed like really well. And his whole family was like, it was like he won the Chili Bowl. That he came in, parked, they were hugging before he was even out of the car. It was really cool to watch like those drivers have those moments like that
Yeah,
because it's like so used to seeing Larson and Bell and CV and all those big dudes. It's like when you have those small guys doing like
Yeah.
little wins like that. It's super cool.
Yeah. Um, Crap, I forgot what I was gonna ask. Oh, I remember. How was the like environment, like the fans and stuff, like the top row rowdies? Like how
They're
was that?
they're they're different. It's definitely a. I wish the camera would pick up more audio, for sure, because the Stenhouse and CV situation. I was it was my first time down in 1 and 2, and like they hit checkered, and I was like, okay, I put the camera down, and like you see Stenhouse coming, and it's like, okay, he's really like he's ripping still. And then you just kind of watch and you watch him. And I didn't even pull the camera up. I wish I would have. And he hit him, flipped himself. Then you have like the whole top row rowdies are right there. And they're letting Stenhouse know it. They're like, fuck you, Stenhouse. And we're like, holy crap. And then CB's like putting his hand out the window, like waving. It's definitely a majorly different atmosphere. It's not like any other race. It's like I don't know. I think I sent you a message of one day, and it was like it's so unexplainably incredible. Like it's you go through the pits, and it's everybody is on top of each other in like these little lanes and stuff. All the drivers are right there, so it's not like you can hide in your trailer. I mean, the bigger guys with the closed doors they can, but
Yeah.
you don't. There's no hiding. Everybody's out. Like after a couple of days, you could tell the drivers were super comfortable. They were just walking around. Like I think I've seen Gordy Gundaker probably 8 to 10 times in one day, just walking around every single day. The fans are definitely when like Larson showed up, it was like you knew Larson showed up because the mob of people just went right to the car.
So like
It's
when he comes to any dirt track.
yeah, it's like that the whole time, and
Crazy.
it's cool because you have fans that are like they've been there for so many years. Like I went and took pictures up in that spot in the stands, and I'm like sitting next to this couple, and I think they said they've been there for the last 12 years. They've sat in the same spot every time. So I'm like, oh yeah, and I gave them a sticker, and they were like super cool about it. And then Saturday for the pole shuffle, I was like, I know exactly where I'm going. I know exactly that my seat's gonna be there. Went up there, they remembered me, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you can go wherever you want." Like the fans are a lot cooler there than I think kind of anywhere else because they're there all week. They've seen the
Yeah.
same people all week. The drivers that aren't racing are usually at their cars signing autographs or taking pictures. Like it's the excitement of it kind of goes away for them after a couple of days. So it's unless you're Larson and you're not there all week until Saturday or Friday.
Yeah. Um, Speaking, you mentioned Gordy Gundaker. You got an amazing shot of him.
Yeah,
That's my favorite one that you have with like the smoke, like,
yeah,
like it's probably just from like oil from the engine, but like just seeing it, that was a great shot. And then the Sipple edits on
yeah, yeah.
Instagram and Facebook. Um, I've seen him use your stuff, some of your photos before for the different edits, and when he edited that picture and like another picture of like actually of Gordy, like it was that was like that edit was awesome, and just I guess kind of just talk about like your relationship with Nat, with with him and how that partnership kind of I'm assuming it's a
Well,
bit of a partnership.
yeah, it's he usually whenever he needs any photos, he usually sends me a message and says, "Hey, can I use this?" or "Hey, I'm gonna use this. Is that all right?" It's like I anytime he needs anything, I usually let him do whatever he wants because I know it's gonna look good. But in that case, it was the wheelie shot, and then I think it was the him standing on his car,
Yeah.
just looking at the big screen, and he didn't even know I was there. And I kind of turned the camera around and I showed him, and he was like, "God, I look good," and we just kind of laughed, and it was like a funny moment between me and Gordy. And then a couple days later, I think it was Friday, I think it was, Will made that. And I was like, I'm sending it right to Gordy right now. He, me and him followed each other on Instagram and Facebook and everything else. So every time me and him seen each other at the race, we kind of had like a little conversation in between because he was usually going somewhere and I was usually going somewhere. But it was cool to have him use that because Gordy ended up using it on his Instagram and shared it on his story. And it was like, Will sends me a message of the screenshot of him using it on his story. And he's like, oh my God. And I was like, yeah, I sent it to him. I was like, he loved it. But me and Will have done a lot of, like, we did Vivian's. He used some of the shots for Vivian's hero cards. He's used a whole bunch of photos this year. So it's pretty nice to know that people like to use the photos for something like that because then it's when you have like the fan appreciation nights and you kind of walk down and you're like, oh, there's one of mine or whatever. Like I
Yeah.
usually have the drivers sign it and I have like a little stack of them. So it's kind of nice to like flip through and be like, oh, I did take that. That is cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I know down at Lernerville, I think it was for one of the nights for the Commonwealth Clash, you had gotten a picture of Logan Wagner and Lance DeWeese racing side by
Yeah,
side, and then you were like, I'm gonna print this out and get them both to sign it
I
because
never I never seen them after that. So
yeah,
kind of, but hopefully this year I get to see them both again and I'll have that picture for them both to sign because it was a cool. It's not a picture that most people would look at it and be like, oh, that's just Lance and Logan. It's like, well, that's the car that DeWeese ran for so many years, and now he's racing against it in
yeah.
that car. It was just a cool photo that I was like, oh, I'll just put that in the memory bank as one of those favorite ones.
I guess to kind of transition into that, it's a good time to kind of transition into what your plans are this year because I imagine they both might be at the Icebreaker at Lincoln in February. Are you planning on maybe potentially going to that?
Uh, I don't think I'm gonna do anything until the Pittsburgh race, the early Pittsburgh race. I think after this past week of doing every day and like
Yeah,
so races, I was kind of like, I don't really want to, because that's coming up here pretty soon.
February 22nd and 23rd. It's a Saturday and Sunday.
But I might end up, it gets close, and I might end up getting a hold of like Gary Ferguson and being like, hey, I want to go. And he'll be like, oh, yeah, you can come. And I'll end up probably be going with Rick. But as far as right now, I don't really have any plan of going. I haven't really thought about it yet. But I know I really want to go to Pittsburgh because I want to see what they've done to like the new walls
Yeah.
and everything else. I just want to see what all that looks like because I'm sure Tyler and all those guys over there have done a whole lot to kind of build that track back up.
Yeah, I'm thinking about going to Lincoln with Rick potentially. I mean, it's kind of he's planning on going for both days, so I'm like, I don't know. And
I
I'm
can't.
like, but I'll and then Pittsburgh in March, I plan on going to that as well. And I've never shot at. I've been to Pittsburgh once last year in March. I mean, we talked. Now,
Hmm.
actually, I think that was the first time we actually met in person.
Yeah,
And that was an interesting day. And I think they're gonna do better this year. But
I think so.
kind of, where's your favorite spot to shoot from there at Pittsburgh?
Well, they don't really allow us to do where I want,
Well, then don't mention it
yeah,
so
where I
in
want
case
to
they
go.
listen.
But I like doing the outside stuff, even though I had to stand like I think they told us like 6 feet back, which for the later in the year race, I ended up making it work. I just kind of sat real low on the hillside to where I could get a shot through the holes. But I like shooting there. It's Pittsburgh is such a big place where it's kind of you don't really have like a special spot for the infield because there's so many like people in there walking around. Like you don't really have a this set spot where I like it here or wherever. But hopefully with this new wall and stuff, I'll be able to take pictures on the wall and take cool pictures there. But we'll have to see. I don't know.
And then just the rest of the year, is it just going to be kind of like a see like what races are running and decide kind of like by week what you do for the rest of the year after that, or
Yeah, it's kind of going to be because the whole thing with Tri City going to Friday, it's kind of up in the air there of like what Lernerville's running, what Tri City's running, and then of course you have Raceway 7, which I love going there for the late model race, the Lucas race. I love going to that race. I think everything that they're doing over there is great. So I like to support them a little more this year, I guess, because I think I only really go there twice a year, and it's like every time I go there, it's amazing. So I'd like to go there more often, but it kind of throws a wrench in it with Tri City on Fridays. I mean, I know they're doing other days too, and Lernerville's doing other days too, but it's kind of up in the air. I don't really have a set schedule. Usually everybody gets a set schedule of where they're going, but I'm kind of just I ended up linking up with SRI at the Chili Bowl on the last day. They were doing stuff with Matt Williamson, so I'm kind of hoping that I kind of get in with them and do a couple races this year with them and kind of hopefully learning like that side of business or whatever, I guess. Because I met Andrew and his dad, Andrew Keene and his dad, and we were talking before they did the whole like all the states come out. We were at the bottom. We were taking pictures of Matt Williamson and everything, which I think I'm doing a podcast with him and the Canadian Race Tours tomorrow.
okay.
So it'd be cool. I mean, we've messaged back and forth and everything since then, and so I'm kind of hoping I'll be able to do some stuff with them and kind of get my name out there a little more. So, I mean, that was the whole reason of going to the Chili Bowl is kind of seeing if I can take pictures with those top guys there that are taking pictures like Chad and Jared, and I got to meet Dave Olson for the first time, and he's an absolute legend of taking pictures. So it was definitely cool to see that I guess I could and kind of build the confidence up a little bit going into this year taking pictures. So hopefully we link up and do something. If not, I told them I'm always down for whatever drivers they need pictures of if I'm in the same event. Just kind of keep connections going. But we'll see. I don't know. I don't really have a set schedule of what everything is.
Yeah, I don't either for myself. I'm got kind of some events that I want to really go to, like, but we'll see how that everything's kind of just kind of fluid. But I might try to do like a couple of nights, do a couple doubles where you go to Lernerville, and then with Tri-City doing six classes, be able to get back in time for the features. I
Yeah.
mean, it won't be going out of my way because I drive right by
Yeah,
Tri-City to
exactly.
get home. So if I can pull off a couple nights like that, possibly that'd be pretty neat. But I do want to maybe try to travel to some tracks I haven't been to, like Attica or Fremont or and stuff this year. So I don't know. Everything's kind of just I guess just check what Rick's doing. If
Yeah.
he's going like 3 to 4 hours away, be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, Rick, hey,
You
uh,
definitely got to go to McKean. I,
County,
we talked about that with the
yeah,
UM. That is definitely on my list again to go to whenever that is, and kind of helping Trevor out, Zuver with the UMS if I can get to some races that he's running. So
I think that's the on the 4th of July, and that's the
yeah,
same day the All-Stars are at State Line. And I think I'm a sprint car guy, but I do like to go to new tracks. But I mean, I wanted to go to the All-Star races at State Line that happened a couple years ago. There was like 2 or 3 years in a row, and I like just couldn't make it work. So I'm like, I can't miss out on another chance. It's like I never thought it'd happen, another sprint car race at State Line. I'm like,
Mm.
I have to like God's gifting me this. I need to go.
I have like this weird love-hate relationship with state line. Like I don't know what it is. It's like I could just never figure out where I want to stand because the track sits so much higher than the infield does. So it's like I'm just always looking and it's like I could never find the right spot. But I don't know. Daniel Nelligan from Whoa Nelly is the main guy over there, and I guess he took over a new job for them.
Yeah, I think he's running like their Facebook and stuff
Yeah.
now.
So if we're not doing anything, or if I did what I did last year and everybody decides to rain out and that's the last place to go to, then that's I'll be sending him a message or calling him and saying, "Hey, I'm coming. Is there any way you can put me in?" And he usually puts me on the list. So it's pretty nice to have friends like that where you can hurry up and call and be like, "Hey, I'm coming, but I'm gonna be there in like an hour."
I need to start making some of those friends.
Yeah. It,
I'm looking at the application for media credentials for Lincoln, like, and I'm like, oh, they say you got to have like a place to post a gallery, and it can't just be Facebook. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to figure out how to do it because we have a website for the podcast, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to figure out how to make a gallery on the website because I'm also too cheap to pay for Smug Mug. So, but I think I figured out a way, but it's gonna be a lot of work. But I'm gonna try
yeah.
to get some of that done. But I'm like, and it's weird because like each track is like each track has different requirements
Mm.
for like what you got to do to have meteor creds, and then what to do once you have them and you go to a race, and then like the rules of you got to go to like so many races,
Yeah.
or if it's just special a special event, it's just kind of. I've learned it's not as in some tracks seems simple to get them, and then it's kind of difficult
Yeah.
to get them.
Like Lincoln's old school, they want like the letter from whoever you're taking pictures for. That guy has to send them a letter of like, this is my guys. They're coming. Just want to make like pretty much just validating that you're not just putting a random name on a paper
Yeah.
and just, oh, I'm taking pictures of this person and whatever. So it's a good way of doing that. It's definitely the old school way because like Sharon, you fill out the application, everything that you who you're taking pictures for, and you're saying you're going to give them pictures no later than like Sunday at I think it's noon or 11 or something like that. So it's kind of you have your own thing there and you have a card. But I think this year I'm going to try to make it to a Port Royal race.
Well,
Maybe.
I might have to tag along because I've been there once and it was amazing, but I've never. That was like a couple years before I picked up the camera, and
Hmm.
definitely way too. Now I feel like I kind of know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I still don't know what I'm doing, but I mean,
I don't either. I just hit a button and do some settings here and there, and if it works, it works.
well, if that's, I need to start like, taking video of what you're doing so I can take as good of shots as you do because your shots are amazing, and I feel like you're t too humble and stuff. But
Yeah, I had a conversation with somebody. I think it was a Will Seipel, and he was sending me a message, and he was like talking about how good the pictures were and everything, and I was like, "Oh, thanks." And he's like, "No, I'm being really serious right now." He's like, you're really good," and I was like, "Oh," I was like, I'm I have a thing of like I don't like comments or compliments in a way because it's like you always have people that are better. Like having Zach Anthony sit there and he's like, "Hey, I want to look at your photos each night and see how you're doing and everything," which he sent me like a long message which was like saying how proud he was and how far I've come and everything else. So that meant a whole lot. And then you have like everybody from up home sharing everything and like comment and stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, thanks, like appreciate it, but definitely not where I think the standard should be, I guess. Like I'm just here in Pennsylvania taking pictures. Like it doesn't I don't see it. Like I obviously the Larson shot that I have, I'm like that was awesome, incredible, but it's like there's also people that take better. So I'm not I guess I am too humble. So, but I don't know. Compliments, I'm like, oh yeah, thanks. That's all right. Well, let's go to something else now. And but definitely this week it showed a lot of like how much support I have for the people that like my photography and everything. So it's pretty cool to see how many people was like sharing and seeing all these big names share throughout the week. It was pretty uplifting because I was like, I'm gonna go in there absolutely blind, have no idea. Not too many people just show up for their first time at the Chili Bowl and decide to take pictures. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah. I truly do think you're like one of the best in the region, if not more than just the region. But and I mean, being too humble is better than thinking
But
you're
yeah, I
better
don't.
than what you are, though. So
Yeah,
I'm glad you're not an asshole and think you're
yeah,
like, well, you could get away with thinking you're really good because I truly think you're really good.
yeah,
But if you were, I mean, as bad as I was when I first started, and then you were acting like you were the greatest thing ever, I'd be like, well, I'd probably keep my mouth shut because I'd feel like I'm not that good. But I'm sure, like, other people would, you know, let you know. But I'm running out of time on my Zoom meeting thing
yeah,
because I'm cheap and I have the basic
yeah,
version. We got about 6 minutes left, so I'll wrap the episode up and then if you want to stick around for like 5 minutes, I guess, or whatever. But so thanks again for coming on. Everybody go check it out on or check us out on YouTube and Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. Like, comment, subscribe, rate 5 stars, follow us. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, um, oh, Threads. Don't post much there, and that's why I almost forgot about it. And then we are also on TikTok. Um, Go check out Brandon's photography. It is amazing, and go support him. And most importantly, go out to a dirt track and remember, no flags given.